With Stella 3.8.1, we've introduced a new file format, which is a bundled format with extension STMZ, which is intended to make it easier to share your work with other people. So the bundled format, in addition to the model, contains the supporting files necessary for the model. So here's an example of a model. It has one run called base. In it, it's got some exported data, an Excel file in this case that we're exporting data to. It's got some imported data, in this case a CSV file, and it also has a couple of graphics and an interface. These are PNG files in this case, so there are several different files, and if we were actually to look at the file structure around this model, we'd see that there's an STMX file, an ISDB file, which is where the runs are stored. In the data directory are the import and export files. And in the graphics directory are several files that are used in the interface. So to share this model, I'd need to share not only the model itself, but all the supporting files. Under the File menu, there is an Export Bundled Content, which allows you to then save the file with the extension STMZ. So I put this in a different directory. And let me call this Save for Bob. And what happens is I go back to the model I'm working with. It doesn't actually make any changes there. I can close this model. I'm not going to keep the changes. And then I can open up in this directory the model called Save for Bob. Now when I do open an STMZ file, if there is a data export, or if there is a data import that is an Excel file, I'll get a little note saying that it contains data, and it'll ask me where I want to put the data. So I have a little folder here I call Data for R&D Model. I'm going to double click on that and click Select Folder. And what it will do is it will put the data into that folder, and it will open up the model just like it would open up any other model. And I can work with this model, and if I do an export from this model, the data will end up in the exported data folder. Let me actually give you a brief view of what that folder looks like. You'll see in that folder there's an XLSX file. There is not a CSV file. The CSV file is an import file, and since it's an import file, we don't need to have access to it. It will be used automatically when the model is run, but it's left in a different location. If I look at it, it's actually in a temporary location. So I don't actually want to do anything with this. But from the user's perspective, we can simply ignore it. We can use our model just like we'd use any other model. And if we do a run, and we export some data from that run, we can go look at the Excel file contained in the exported data, and it will have the results of making that run. The next time I open the same file, I don't get requested about the location of the data folder because it already knows what it is, and I can make another run, for example, and save the file. Perhaps I'll rename this run as test. I'll save this file. And I'll reopen it. And we can see that I now have the test run. But if we go and look at the location of the file, it just has the original STMZ file. And it's got the embedded runs in it. I can give this file to anyone, and as long as they have Stella 3.8.1 or higher, they can simply open it up and use it just the way that I've been using it here, without having to worry about giving them the additional files and without having to give them a zip archive, which they would then have to unzip. So from the user's perspective, this is largely invisible. Things just work, but it gives you a little bit of an overview of the background behind it. And this should make it easier to share your work with other people.